This technical seminars are an Intertech production. For instructor-led .NET, Java, and XML courses, visit us at www.intertech.com.
And work with it and don't give up. This is something I found. It was pretty frustrating sometimes working in the views, working with those HTML helpers, getting them to display controls in the right format. Just getting a radio button list to display was kind of a bear when I was first working with it, or checkbox list, right? Getting an actual list of checkboxes to appear on the page with an HTML helper. Take a look at other examples that are out there. There's some free tutorials as well on the ASP.NET website that you can go ahead and watch and see how they do it. Remember, whenever you make a change to any of your web pages, your views or your controllers, you must always rebuild your entire web application project. This is not a website where you can just make a change, save the file, and view in browser, because you're not actually viewing a page. Okay? Some resources. Well, two different books I got listed here. The official professional ASP.NET MVC book up at the top there, that Rocks book, is written by the guys that actually wrote bits and pieces of the actual ASP.NET MVC framework. Excellent book showing you the way it was done with the Microsoft way. Alternatively, though, if you're more of the alt.NET programmer, going with other solutions, maybe more of the open source community, you may want to consider the APRESS book, Pro ASP.NET MVC framework. This book here has a lot of the alternative ways that we can go ahead and do MVC. For example, alt.NET Vue frameworks and unit testing frameworks that are not necessarily the ones that are included with the framework. Obviously, there's that link there. It says Downloads and More, ASP.NET/MVC. That has some excellent little movie tutorials that you can just watch and see how they build MVC. Note that it also has walkthroughs and also just some basic documentation on it and where you can download the pieces and the tools. Scott Guthrie's got a ton of stuff on his website. He's constantly updating his blog on the latest things in ASP.NET world. Now, obviously, this is one of the YouTube videos through Intertech, but there's several other locations you can find additional information. Like we do have these Oxygen Blast seminars every 3 months. We hold the Microsoft ones at Microsoft. We also have Java Oxygen Blast as well, and we have white papers and PDF downloads. And of course, they're all free. That's the best part. Just show up and learn some stuff. Intertech training, of course, we do offer a lot of training at Intertech for .NET, SQL Server, SharePoint, XML, Ajax, and of course Java as well. And we do offer either on-site training or we do offer training at Intertech. We've also got a great consulting division. If your team needs any help with any particular project, you may want to bring in a consultant for a day or bring them in for a week, or longer. So give a call to the phone number there in the presentation there, 994-8558, and talk with the consulting division at Intertech. There are more people working in the consulting division than there is in the training division at Intertech. Also, I'm curious if you would be interested in MVC courses. This is something I asked back in July when I gave this presentation originally at Microsoft. And, of course, Dan McCabe is the primary sales representative for the training division at Intertech. Would you also be interested in a dynamic data course? This is something else to consider. Right now I'm working on the MVC course, so that is something I'm creating for users. I do believe this is going to be a large part of the future of ASP.NET Form development, although the original one will be available as well, the original form development. So that pretty much wraps up my ASP.NET MVC presentation. The one thing I didn't do, and I kind of feel guilty about this, is I didn't actually test this thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and run it. And I've got this simple project. And right away when I run this thing, just for a very simple demo here, notice that up in the query string, all I have is the actual name of the website. I don't actually have the name of the controller. I don't have the name of the view that or the public method I'm requesting. And basically it's using the default settings that are in that global.asax. Notice if I click on About, all of a sudden now I'm specifying the name of the controller, which is home, and I'm also specifying the About, which is that About public method, and that's returning me the About view. I could go ahead and do that for index as well, right? See, I can specify index, or if I just drop all of this stuff on here, then it uses all the default settings that are located in that global.asax file because it's using this particular route. It's automatically setting the controller for home and for index. Okay, so that's how it's basically working with the actual controller and of course with each of these two views, index and about. Okay, so it's basically showing us a little bit of an example of how it's using these different views, and of course how it's pulling that information out of the view data control. Okay, well, I thought I'd at least show that for you. I mean, that just understand the basic semantics of the routing, and again, how that route works up with the query string is a large part of where we're headed with ASP.NET Form development. Even if you don't bother with MVC, get to know this guy, how we can register routes and how we can navigate requests to certain pages. Alright, this is available with Service Pack 1 for ASP.NET 3.5, and of course it'll be available in .NET 4.0 as well. Notice how this looks in .NET 3.5. Let's open up Visual Studio 2010, look at this guy, and you'll see that it's identical. This is something that's not going away, and of course supports routing and supports beautifying query strings so that they look better in search engine optimizations. Okay, so that wraps it up, guys. I hope this was helpful. Gave you a brief intro into MVC, and of course this is something that's not going away. So best wishes to you. Thanks a lot.
For more free learning resources and to see the latest lineup of our instructor-led .NET, Java, and XML courses, visit us at www.intertech.com.